So here we are at National Indoor RV Centers again. This is probably the 6th or 7th time we've stopped at one of their facilities to get some repair work done. They really make it easy for you to be able to still conduct your normal life when you're a full-timer. They provide 50 amp electrical. It's in a gated, protected area. You can get water and you can dump at their dump station. Why don't you come along with me and Sue? We'll show you how the week that we were there progressed and some of the things you can expect if you bring your coach in and you're a full-timer and you've got to wait and work it into your schedule. We're camping Mark and Sue style once again.
All right, Mark is lusting over a new one.
Wow.
What year is this?
This is, doesn't matter, this is ours now. I'm going to tell them to keep ours.
Excellent.
If you're buying a brand new Newmar tag axle and you got the passive steering, that means your rear tag axle is turning while you're turning, and it's passive, so it's not complicated. The geometry of it wants it to turn when the coach turns, and it locks out after a certain speed, so you're not wiggle-woggling around on the freeway. But the comfort drive, that's the real McCoy, and that's always on all the time.
And that's what we have, right?
Right, and so
That's
the adjustable knob on the dashboard, 1 through 6, and it basically allows you to dial your steering from a loosey-goosey coach to a tight Titanic coach and everything in between. And trust me, it really works. And I'm constantly adjusting it depending upon if I'm in a tight quarters going into a campground, or if you're on the freeway and the wind is really blowing and you just want to be steady as a rock, I'll be up to 5 or 6.
That's pretty much the main reason we went with Newmar, right?
That's the only reason. I had to kind of convince myself, because I like the interiors on this brand better. This is the Integra, and I liked the Anthem is pretty much similar to the Dutch Star, but I couldn't get past what people were saying about the comfort drive. And one thing Sue and I learned real quick, or decided to learn real quick, was that in the beginning of RVing, we didn't know anything. So we put a lot of stock, especially in very repetitive things that people would say. And when they would always say that comfort drive is the cat's pajamas, and once you have a coach that has comfort drive, you're not driving anything else, we kind of thought, you know what, why don't we just cut to the chase and get a coach with comfort drive? So that's what we did. Very happy we did. This is a good example of why National Indoor RV does such a good job. They invest in the kind of equipment you need to do a decent job. First of all, if you look at this building, you can see that it's just a monster, and it has 18 bays. It's very well lit. To be able to have a lift mechanism like this for the tech to work out of, so that he's not risking life or limb when they're working on the edge of your coach, does a couple of things. First of all, it keeps him alive, and second of all, it keeps him interested enough and comfortable enough in what he's doing that he can actually get the job done to a very high level of quality. Really appreciate it. When I brought the coach in this morning, we had been almost a week on the road going to different repair places like the Freightliner place, and then we went to the tire place, and then we were here for a few days. So when I first showed up, I had to empty the tanks out. They would have did it for me, but I said, you know what, I got nothing to do, and I've done it a few times before, and I sent everything right down there. One of the things that we're having done while we're here is in a wet bay, there's something called Blade X valves. And they're basically the two handles that you see in this picture. The left-hand one is the black valve for the naughty stuff, and the gray valve is for the gray water. Now, my valves push and pull a little bit on the hard side, but they don't leak at all. But I'm thinking I'm going to replace them before they need to be replaced by me in the field on the fly, you know, when it's 95 degrees out somewhere, when it's least convenient. So once again, that's probably why my costs are so much more than maybe people would expect, is because I just can't stand not taking care of stuff like this on my schedule rather than on the schedule called Calamity. It's pretty infrequent that Sue and I get to use our TV on the outside of the rig, because a lot of times the weather just isn't quite right, or we're too close to neighbors and we don't want it to disturb them, or maybe it's just too hot or raining. But for a lot of reasons, we normally don't use this thing. But on this particular day, it looked like everything was just perfect in alignment for us to use our television. And it was a really quiet campground we discovered here in National Indoor RV. And I told Sue, I said, hey Sue, why don't you bring out the comfortable chairs? And to my amazement, she carried out our recliners. I don't know how she did it, but it's a pretty good idea. I mean, you can see here, she looks very comfortable. Let's check out her vantage point here when she's watching TV. I'm thinking that, oh yeah, that's great. Excellent, honey. I can't wait to sit down next to you. What the heck? How come you took the driver's seats out? Hey, do you know how much work that's going to be to put back in? Honey, what were you thinking?
We're having company. You said bring the chairs out.
Oh my God. Life is full of surprises when you live in an RV. Sometimes you got to live in an RV in a repair facility because you just start crying when the service writer tells you you're going to have to get a room, and you tell them you can't afford it.
Is that
and
what
then,
you did?
well, yeah, and then, you know, if you're kind of cute, you know, and, you know, slightly hair challenged like me, a lot of people feel sorry for me, and they let us stay overnight here. So
Another adventure.
thank you, National Indoor. You saved us another $45, which I can apply to the bill.
Yeah, right.
So National Indoor only has special people that are trained to pull these rigs out and pull them in and jockey them around the entire facility. And this video kind of epitomizes not the exception, but the rule. This place is giant, yet each one of these vehicles is 45 feet long, maybe longer when you see that even I have something sticking out the back there. So they're constantly taking $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $900,000 vehicles, and they're pulling them out, and they're coming within inches of other vehicles that are equally as expensive. These guys have to communicate by radio. They have separate spotters many times. The guy in the front has to understand the capabilities of each of the vehicles, how tight they can turn. You can see that he literally just stabbed it out straight, cranked the wheel, and was able to make it. I didn't feel at all nervous anymore. I've watched this happen many times, and these guys truly are professionals. You can see he's driving by the washing area out there to his right. So Sue, you come over here. The video that I did not make yet, which I mentioned once already, right at the end of my muff here, that's the knock sensor right there, and that cord, and it goes up to a little module.
So this is what was on ours.
Correct. So this knock sensor here is what they had to get at. Now, if I was just driving this frame and I didn't have a motorhome on top of it, trust me, it's a lot easier to work on. But because my motorhome is on top of it, that's where the floor of our
the bathroom.
The floor of our bathroom is up here, and they had to take the hatch and go down and work on this. And I'll have video of that eventually.
Yeah.
So one of the things that always made me nervous about owning a motorhome was eventually having to have your engine worked on, where they have to get in at it from inside your bathroom. And I have to tell you, it was not near as scary or as expensive or bad as I thought it was. I'm so glad they let me film this. National Indoor has 2 people that are assigned chassis work, and it was nice to see that they were both young, wiry guys that have been around the block a few times working on this equipment. What I'm pointing to here in the picture is the first thing I pointed to was the control of the NOx sensor, NOx, that I had replaced. And this second thing I'm attempting to point at is the actual sensor that this guy very patiently worked on so he would not strip the threads in that expensive, difficult to remove connection there. And he just kept working on it and trying different pry bars and different sockets, and eventually it just screwed out, screwed the new one in, and I was back in business. So when the chassis guy was all done installing the NOx sensor, he hooked up his computer and everything was beautiful. And the great thing about this company is you can ask them to do things and it's a real easy give and take type of a setup. So I asked the tech, I said, hey, would you mind taking this rig out and, you know, provide one of your professional drivers, because I don't know the neighborhood, and pick a bunch of roads and, you know, really lay into it to make sure that all of the codes and the different errors, messages that may be coming up are okay. And that's what these 2 guys did. And to my surprise, when I said, hey, could I come along to see what you do, and so that I could videotape it for our channel to show people, you know, what to expect if they want a first-class job done, they said, sure, come along, you know. And we actually had great conversation, but I figured it would be better if I just stick to the business here and tell you what was happening. All around the 3 perimeters that you're looking at here of this lot are spaces that are provided for people to park the rig and wait for service if they need it. Of course, they can drop it off if they don't need to wait. You can see the cones that are left behind. That's actually people that are in service now, and they're saving that spot for later. You can see the gates here that require you to have a code to come in and out after hours. This road they're turning onto is coming out of the facility, and now we're going out onto the highway here. You can see that the tech is constantly reading different values are scrolling on that screen as the sensors are picking up information, and he's just looking to make sure that nothing odd happens. The last thing you want to do is to get this thing repaired and you're out on the road a couple 100 miles away and all of a sudden it throws another code and you're just back to square one. I really only did have that NOx sensor code throw, and I called up Freightliner and they had said that the error that I was experiencing may or may not go away, and I put up with it for quite some time. But when they looked at it, I had that error 47 times, and obviously it was about time to get it fixed. You can see I'm sitting in the back here to see what it's like, to see what's bouncing around back there. You saw that my desk drawer kind of opens and closes. Thank God I got that Mark Chandler patented drawer dampening mechanism in place there. Okay, here's the final bad news. You can see how much money all you guys out there that do your own work you're going to save. The kitchen slide mechanism, I actually learned a few things how he would adjust it in the future. Maybe I'll be able to do that next time. The roof resealing you saw in the video was done on that lift mechanism to put the guy in a really safe, comfortable position to get really good quality work done. The Bladex valves that I took a chance replacing, I'm so glad I did. The new ones work so much better than the old ones. I'm sure I was getting close to a failure. The Blue Ox tow bar they looked at, it kind of started a conversation with Blue Ox. I eventually got my tow bar replaced because of some welds that looked like they were failing. The full wall slide, I had some final diagnostic work done on that. More to come on that because I'm actually going back to the mothership to get some work done. The NOx sensor costs of labor and the replacement for that is shown here. The next bill coming up shows the RETTROBAND's $4,500. I had a previous video that showed the work that was actually done at a tire store, and now I'm finally getting to National Indoor to actually pay for the gadget itself. So bottom line, after you put that in, you can see I had the rig washed for $146. Unbelievable bargain, unbelievable job. I'm going to have a separate video on that coming up, so watch for that, folks. So $8,300, I'm back in business.